Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the Governor's Advocacy Office, or the GAO. I am Jason Wennig. I'm the Formal Complaint Coordinator and Civil Rights Investigator with the Governor's Advocacy Office. Today we're going to talk about our role and function within the GAO and the complaint process that is under the Oregon Department of Human Services. We're going to learn about the roles of our office, which includes the ombudsman role, the formal complaint coordinator and discrimination investigator, which is myself, and the foster care ombudsman, Alexis Amarelli, which you'll hear from later in the presentation, and how our staff interact with ODHS staff and leadership. So the ombudsman, or ombuds as we like to refer to the role, it's a very old profession or role, and it's a Swedish word, which is a citizen representative within government or an administrative body. And it's kind of a go-between between constituents or consumers and the public and the government services itself. Some of the skills that we have we are confidential. We actively listen to those that are reaching out to us. We are a neutral entity that we are under ODHS, but we aren't a part of those programs. We perform investigations, and we are also bound by the rules that currently are in place for the agency. And an interesting fact is that in Amharic, the word for ombudsman means keeper of the people's tears. So some of our history, going back to 1993, there was an ombuds that was appointed to help with state services, and the children's advocate position was also created. In 1996, the children's advocate role moved to the newly formed GAO office. Between 2002 and 2004, the procedures and rules for the formal customer service and discrimination complaint process was formed in agreement with federal regulators and entities to make sure that there was a centralized complaint process, because previous to that, the agency really didn't have that formalized process. In 2014, the foster care ombudsman was created by the legislature to hear from youth experiencing foster care, to ensure that they had a direct voice to the governor's advocacy office. Our legal authority falls under ORS 182.500, and our office must report to the governor, and all agencies are required to cooperate with our office in good faith. We also have statutes that are for the Office of Children's Advocate, and the duties of the Office of Children's Advocate, and also the legislative intent for each foster child to have essential rights. The rules are listed that refer to the formal complaint and discrimination grievance process. Currently, we support customers and advocates, applicants with questions, and we review concerns or complaints about ODHS services. We are functionally independent from all ODHS programs. The GAO reviews and reports to the ODHS director and the governor's office, as I previously mentioned. Our current team includes our director and the formal complaint coordinator and civil rights investigator, the foster care ombuds, and we have 6 ODHS ombuds, as well as a screener. And we handle complaints across all ODHS programs, including self-sufficiency and the Oregon Eligibility Partnership, aging and people with disabilities, and that includes the Triple A's, which is the Area Agency on Aging under the counties, vocational rehabilitation, and the intellectual and developmental disabilities program, along with child welfare. Our current team is composed of various experience from ODHS programs, juvenile justice, different advocacy programs, backgrounds in mental health, mediation, and so on. Our office has full access to all ODHS systems, including ORCIDs and other data systems, including One, Oregon Access, and so forth. We open complaints and respond, investigate, and we also track and report out on complaints to, like I said, the director's office and the governor's office. We regularly meet with ODHS leadership, including director of programs, to discuss any trends or concerning issues that have come up that we've reviewed and need to alert them to those issues or concerns. Child welfare makes up about 50% of all cases that are handled by the GAO, and there's a unique child welfare is a unique program that involves many different aspects of services, and those can include anything. Complaints can include anything from grandparents reaching out, needing to understand their rights, to parents not understanding what's happening in their case, or they may have concerns about employee behaviors or how they were treated, that sort of thing. So we do have some limitations where we can't provide legal advice. We can't represent anyone in court. We can't share private or protected information. We have to follow the same privacy laws and then ODHS confidentiality rules. We can't release results of CPS or other ODHS investigations, as we have to, again, follow those same privacy laws in order to protect vulnerable populations. We can't look into issues that are outside our role. We receive many complaints from individuals where, say, if it's a concern about child abuse or neglect, we are mandatory reporters, and we will report those to the Oregon Child Abuse Hotline. The same with ODIS, the Office of Training and Investigative Services, law enforcement issues, or human resources or HR. We don't have authority over HR or law enforcement issues. We don't revisit issues that have already been addressed or resolved, and this is out of fairness and efficiency. We're a very small office, and we don't have the ability to continually review the same issue repeatedly. We also we don't contact clients for ODHS programs. We're not the go-between, or we can't operate in a kind of a caseworker role, and we can't speak with clients or determine eligibility on behalf of ODHS programs. So some of the outcomes of GAO cases, like I said, we do produce quarterly reports on trends and issues, and those are reported accordingly. A determination may have a finding that is valid, which may result in recommendations to program leadership. Not valid, no ODHS policy violations were found. A consultation, a case might be coded as a consultation if we provide information or clarification to someone. A good example of that may be a grandparent reaching out about their rights as a grandparent. Referrals, we'll send the appropriate agency or office those issues or concerns for their follow-up or review. We also offer positive feedback on occasion. We have a customer comment form, and those get sent to us, and we will send those to local leadership for those leaders to um, provide some um, feedback, positive feedback for those staff, and occasionally we send thank you cards for those that have worked with us and helped us in understanding the question or concern. So in my role, I am responsible for managing the formal complaint process and civil rights investigative process. And this is the form, the ODHS 0170. And this is in the form server. And if a person has a complaint or concern, they can fill out this form. Filling out the form is not required. However, they can just contact our office either by phone or email or letter. This form is in the process of being updated, and hopefully within the next year that will be completed. We're also developing an online process for folks to fill out a form online. These are the rules that cover the formal complaint process that were briefly mentioned earlier, and the kind of the pathway that a complaint would come in. If it's a customer service complaint and we receive those, those will be sent to the appropriate supervisor and other upper level management according to what the complaint is about for review, direct review and resolution with that complainant. And those results would be sent to us. If it is a discrimination complaint, we will review those concerns and investigate the matter and reach out to appropriate staff as necessary. So now I'm going to hand it over to Alexis Amorelli, our foster care ombudsman.
Thank you so much, Jason. Hello, my name is Alexis, and I am currently serving Oregon as the Foster Care Ombudsman with the Governor's Advocacy Office. I am very grateful to be able to talk about this position with you today. I have been in this position for almost 2 years now, and it is a position that is very exciting in the work that it does to serve Oregonians, specifically the population of youth that are experiencing foster care across our state. So as Jason has shared already with you, the foundation of our office, I want to build on top of that foundation in explaining how the Oregon Foster Care Ombudsman is different than the rest of the ombuds team. So two of the differences that I want to make sure that I highlight are the differences of having a separate phone line. There is a youth empowerment and safety phone line that is operated completely separate from the phone line that is operated by the ombuds team. And this phone line was created specifically for youth voice. So for youth to be able to call and reach out to assert any grievances or to discuss any concerns that they might have about an open child welfare case. The phone line is designed to also accept calls or emails or concerns from advocates who are reaching out on behalf of youth who are experiencing foster care. So the Youth Empowerment and Safety Line, often referred to as the YES phone line, is directly for youth, but also receives communications from advocates on youth behalf. And then another difference in the role of the foster care ombudsman is that the model that I follow in this position is an advocacy model. So I am going to be advocating for the voice of youth and what they're wanting through the use of the Foster Children's Bill of Rights and the Sibling Bill of Rights. So those are two pieces of legislation that were put into place by youth who've experienced foster care. And the position of the foster care ombudsman is to essentially put youth into the driver's seat of what do they feel they are needing as they're experiencing child welfare, what would help benefit them as they're experiencing the program in a situation that often feels very powerless. How can we lean into empowerment and to making sure that we're staying centered on youth voice and youth experience, and making sure that we're moving towards what a youth is needing, as well as moving forward in advocacy for the youth, using those bills of rights. A little bit of history about the Foster Children's Bill of Rights and the foster care ombudsman position is that the Oregon Foster Youth Connection championed the development of the Foster Children's Bill of Rights in the state of Oregon. So that work started in 2013, and in 2014, the Foster Children's Bill of Rights became law. That is actually the year that Oregon's first foster care ombudsman was hired to serve the state. And they served the state in this position for about 10 years, and they just recently retired. So I have been in this position for just a short amount of time, but the position still continues on with the same message and the same level of advocacy for youth through that Foster Children's Bill of Rights. And then the Oregon Foster Youth Connection kept going with their momentum in 2017. And through their championing for the Oregon Foster Children's Bill of Rights, they were able to build off of that and create the Sibling Bill of Rights. And that we'll talk a little bit more in depth about later on in this presentation. But I really wanted to highlight the amazing work that was done through that nonprofit, the Oregon Foster Youth Connection, to really center advocacy and policy and law change on youth voice and youth experience. Here is a copy of the Foster Children's Bill of Rights as it is seen by every youth that is experiencing foster care across the state. So this document here is a form. So at the bottom of this slide, you'll see the DHS 9014 number. That is a form number where you can actually find this poster within the Oregon Department of Human Services forms drive. And the poster on the right side of this slide is a younger version. So that is going to come with a different form number, and that was designed with the help of the Head Start program in the state of Oregon to be better designed to serve youth who are younger by using more pictures and being able to have conversations and open up questioning perhaps by youth who are experiencing foster care that might be in a younger age bracket. So again, the Foster Children's Bill of Rights was created by youth who wanted a more consistent experience across the state. Youth that were involved with the Oregon Foster Youth Connection came together and were having conversations about their experiences in foster care. And they were having conversations about, how come in Klamath Falls a youth is able to have something, whereas I am not able to when I'm located in Portland. So this is more of a way to ensure that it's more equal across the state, so that youth can expect some consistency as it pertains to their experience in foster care. Another document that I wanted to highlight that is a part of the law for the Foster Children's Bill of Rights is that youth have the right to current and updated contact information for all adults responsible for their care. This document here is a form that was created by the Oregon Department of Human Services that can help fulfill those requirements that are listed out in the law, and to really make sure that youth have the contact information for the adults that they want to contact when they want to contact them. And what I know is that oftentimes the adults in the lives of youth are constantly changing, and it's very important for this to be highlighted because it's very important that this is updated. So part of the law is not just here's the contact information, but this information has to be updated, and it needs to be updated whenever a change takes place. And that leads back to that empowerment piece, having the youth be able to make phone calls, email, contact who they want to when they feel that they need to, is a part of empowerment, and this feeds into that law that was created. Some changes that I also wanted to highlight that take effect when a youth is 14 years old or older is that the Foster Children's Bill of Rights is actually required to be signed. So in the law, it states that a youth is required to be explained each one of their rights for understanding, but when a youth is 14 or older, it is a part of the law that they are signing, providing their own signature to acknowledge their understanding. And that is required to be documented into the child welfare data system. And that is something I'm frequently looking for whenever I receive a call of concern from the Youth Empowerment and Safety Line, is I'm looking for documents like this. I'm looking to ensure that youth have been afforded that opportunity to sign to their understanding, to share space with an adult who is in charge of their care, and to be able to ask questions, and to really feel that sense of empowerment that they're taking on that autonomy in their experience of the Foster Children's Bill of Rights. Another document I wanted to highlight here is the How Do I brochure. Another document that was created by the Oregon Department of Human Services to fulfill the laws that change when a youth is 14 and older. So the How Do I brochure lists out things like how do I work towards getting a driver's license? There's numerous things that are listed out in this How Do I brochure, and it's the law that youth are required to receive the information, not that the information is just available, but they need to receive it. It needs to be provided to them. So this brochure was created to help child welfare fulfill that law. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on the the Oregon Sibling Bill of Rights. So this Bill of Rights was created specifically for siblings. So this is to really highlight the importance of sibling relationships and how easily that can be disrupted by the foster care system. The Sibling Bill of Rights applies to youth who are experiencing foster care and their siblings who are in foster care or who are not in foster care. So sometimes I receive calls of concern from youth who are a part of a sibling group and they have an adult sibling who lives out of state that they want to have contact with. The Sibling Bill of Rights is going to apply to that. The Sibling Bill of Rights is going to really highlight the importance of the role of the child welfare program to protect and nourish those sibling relationships. And the Sibling Bill of Rights is required to be available to youth who are placed within the foster care system throughout the state. And the Sibling Bill of Rights needs to be readily available for them to review anytime that they should want to do so. Another document on the requirements for the Sibling Bill of Rights that I'm often looking for is called the Sibling Visit and Contact Plan. And this is a document that is required by the Child Welfare Program to ensure that the Child Welfare Program is taking on an active role in connecting siblings to each other. What is the sibling relationship and contact going to look like outside of parent contact? Because the sibling relationship is so important, that sibling visit and contact plan is always something I'm looking for when I know that a youth experiencing foster care is a part of a sibling group. And I really wanted to just bring some attention to that in case you might not be aware of it. And on this last slide, you'll find our contact information. So there are some email addresses here, as well as our phone numbers where you can reach out to us, and as well as websites where you can see public-facing information, including our reports. Another part of the foster care ombudsman position is that the reporting of this position is separate from the rest of the GAO team, and that is really intended to highlight youth voice and youth experience. What are youth experiencing and saying as they're experiencing the foster care system? So all of the concerns that I'm working through, as well as the findings and conclusions of my reports, are all going to be available on that public-facing website. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you were able to learn a little bit of helpful information about the Governor's Advocacy Office. We are always here to answer any questions that might come up. Please don't hesitate to reach out, whether that's through phone call or through email. Thank you so much for your time.